Hi everyone, welcome to the Engineering Live Q&A at UWA. We're here at the Engineering Student Centre. My name's Zara and this is Anas, who's a professor in the Civil, Environmental and Mining School at UWA here. Welcome to everyone who's joining us. We're looking forward to speaking to you and we're looking forward to seeing some of your questions coming through. So if you have any questions, remember to post them in the comments and then we'll pick them up and we'll be answering those. So we'll be answering some of them live here. And then we also have some future students advisors who are going to be responding to those comments as well. So keep the comments coming and the questions, and we'll answer all of those as we go, and we'll conclude answering those after the broadcast as well. So we're going to talk tonight a little bit about engineering at UWA. We know that for our audience we've got hopefully some prospective Year 12 students or potentially parents or students in Year 9, 10, 11 who are looking at engineering at UWA or just have some queries about engineering as a whole. It's an exciting time, so we want to give you as much information as possible and help you with making some of those decisions that you've got to make at this time. So what we'll do tonight is we'll talk a little bit about the pathway here, and we'll give you some information about what engineering is to start with. So I guess with engineering we talk about it as being the creative application of maths and science to solve some of the complex problems in the world.
Absolutely, and essentially this is the foundation of engineering, is about solutions. So we are focused on using the most advanced science and mathematics and computing to solve the problem. So we are very focused on the solution. And it's really interesting that in today's world, we provide solutions to problems that used to be that we used to have in the past. These problems are becoming bigger because we need more water, we need roads, we need bigger airports, we need all the infrastructure that is the foundation of the economy, that is the foundation of our life, and we need absolutely to basically train our graduate to face those challenges for the future and to contribute to the development in the future. Yeah,
absolutely. And with engineering we quite often reference some of those things that Anas just pointed out. So engineering's present in all of our day-to-day lives, in buildings, roads, infrastructure, software, and lots of different areas. So engineering at UWA, we have something called a direct engineering pathway, which is a 5-year program. So that consists of a 3-year undergraduate major in engineering science, followed by a 2 years master's, the Master of Professional Engineering. So at the end of that 5 years, you come out as a qualified engineer, accredited with the national accrediting body, which is Engineers Australia, and you can practice as an engineer internationally, basically. So our accreditation is recognised by the Washington Accord.
Yeah. So all the signatory nations in the world, and there's so many of them who have signed, all these countries, our graduates actually end up working there. A number of them work internationally, the UK, the US, anywhere.
So
and we have graduates. Absolutely.
So with our pathway, if you're in high school at the moment, you can enter into the pathway with an ATAR of 92 or above to guarantee you entry through the whole 5 years. We ask that you've got some studies, some prerequisite studies, so we ask that you've got mathematics methods, and the recommended subjects are also maths specialist, physics and chemistry. If you don't have all of those, we can work with you to make sure that in your first year you pick up some of those subjects, so that you've got the foundation level units that you can then progress into engineering. We've got 8 specialisations in our engineering pathway as well, so it's quite exciting that you can choose from 8 different streams. Those are, so off the top of my head, so we've got civil engineering, chemical engineering, environmental engineering, electrical and electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, mining engineering, software engineering, and then biomedical engineering. Yeah. So that's quite exciting because we've introduced biomedical engineering for 2018 for undergraduate students. So we recognise that there's a bit of a gap there, and that we've got some really exciting careers of the future, and some of our researchers here are working on some exciting applications of biomedical engineering.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it there in terms of you have a good memory remembering all of these. But I think what's one of the most important things is that we're working on new areas that will probably end up having new disciplines in engineering in the future, because the sector is evolving and the needs are basically evolving as well. In the area of the biomedical engineering, there's so much development in robotics areas, and how you can basically target diseases and things like that, and you can treat them with advanced technology. And I think this is an area of precision medicine that is going to be the future, and we are basically pushing in that area to try to train our graduates to be one of the best for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with our course structure, we're really keen that our students are able to, first of all, as you said, study those cutting edge areas, the emerging areas, but also combine some of those areas with interests as well. So you might be doing engineering, but you might want to supplement that with a second major, and there's room in the course structure to do that. So you could possibly,
thinking about commerce?
Yeah, you could possibly supplement with finance, or even a language, or anything really.
That's right.
So you'd actually graduate from UWA, from the pathway, with an undergraduate degree with 2 majors if you wanted to do a second major, 2 majors, and then you graduate with a postgraduate qualification as well. So in 5 years you can actually come away with both of those, and you're accredited as an engineer at that higher level. So when you go out into industry, you're prepared for working in industry, not just in the first technical role that you might do, but you've got some of those leadership skills, you've got some of the communication skills, and the project management and the teamwork as well.
I mean, we're constantly in doing this. We work in really close partnership with industry, all the sectors that are relevant. We have advisory panels that meet regularly. We talk to the thought leaders, to the people who are really understand the future of their sector, and we hear from them about what kind of graduates they want for the future. And that's really the most important thing, is we are in the business of training engineers for the 21st century with those challenges that we're facing, which, as you said, they are technical, but most of the challenges of the future are actually about complex problems that require understanding of social structures, understanding of economics, understanding of governance as well, political systems, so that engineers are not just doing something that someone dictates to them, but they contribute to actually the design of the solution. And I think that's really the future. The other aspect is about multidisciplinarity. So you've seen our structure. We are now the Faculty of Engineering and Mathematical Sciences, and our School of Engineering is essentially grouped in various departments, but there's no boundaries, because pretty much civil, environmental, mechanical, we contribute. There's no one project that I worked on that requires a single discipline. Most of the time it's 3 disciplines, 4 disciplines. We require input from economists, we require input from media people as well, so it's about understanding the perceptions, changing the perceptions, how people use the roads, how people use transport, public transport, how people use water. We need to understand those things so we can basically develop smart solutions.
Absolutely, thank you, that's really interesting. So keep your questions coming in as we're talking, and we'll start to answer some of those. We wanted to talk a little bit about 2 really exciting initiatives that we have this year. So one of those is the Engineering Early Offers Programme. And what that means is that if you're a current Year 12 student and you can demonstrate a predicted ATAR of 90 or above, or if you can show us your mid-year report that's got A or B grades in the 4 prerequisite subjects that we talked about before, so maths methods, maths specialist, chemistry and physics ATAR, then you can put an application in to UWA through our online portal, and if you meet those requirements, you can actually have an offer to study engineering here at UWA before you've even sat your exam. So
you secure essentially a place.
Yes, absolutely. And we've had that open since mid-July, and that's going to continue to open until the middle of October. So have a look on our website. We'll post some links to that. And if you're interested in an early offer, so you've got that peace of mind, then make that application. And the second one that we wanted to talk about was a really exciting one. So we're offering some new scholarships for students in the engineering pathway, and they are that is a $25,000 engineering scholarship.
Wow!
Yeah,
that's exciting. Can I apply?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, actually, if you wanted to apply for a scholarship, or actually you don't even need to really make an application. Yep. What you need is an ATAR of 96 or above.
Wow.
So it's kind of recognising high achievement in that space, and you'll be, if you achieve an ATAR of 96 or above, and you've got UWA as your first preference, and you've got the direct engineering pathway as a preference in that mix, then you're automatically eligible for that scholarship, which is exciting. So that'll be $5,000 each year to help you with your studies. So it's always worth looking into these things to see what you're able to find support in. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about engineering, what it is, the course structure, etc. We're going to go to some questions. So if you've got any questions, just a reminder, post them in the comments, and we'll answer those. And I should also mention as well that whilst we've got Anas here, who's a professor, we've also got a current engineering student who's going to join us as well. So any questions that you've got about what it's actually like to study here, or what the student life is like, shoot those through as well, and we'll invite our student to come and answer those as well. Oh, so we have.
You can also like us.
Yes, like us on Facebook. And like the post just to tell us that you're here, or let us know if if you've already made a application, or if you're thinking about it, and we'd be glad to talk to you. So we've got a question here from Sam. So the question is, how practical is engineering at UWA?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, very practical. So most of our units teach basically problem-based. So we're looking at solving problems, and we do it by designing new things, by applying technology, by taking students on site. So it is really focused on solving some of those challenging. We don't spend those challenging problems that we face. We don't spend too much time on the theory. The theory is important, but most of our units are organized where you have the theory that's available to you anytime, but you work on actually applying and understanding how to design those things. So it's really hands-on, and we have also lots of our projects are based in industry. Yeah. So a number of my students spend their time in businesses working directly on the problems, and from early on. Yeah. That's what really is important, is that to engage with that engineering culture early on in your degree.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So another question here, from Ben, and this is a question that we get asked all the time, so I'm glad we're able to talk about this. Why would I do a 5-year engineering master's at UWA or pathway that includes a master's over a 4-year accredited engineer degree elsewhere?
Hi Ben, this is a good question. So essentially, after talking to our business partners and our industry leaders, we had a requirement for what is called broadening skills. We want, our industry partners are saying we want engineers that are technical, but that have also broad understanding in areas that are not directly linked to, because there are studies and there's evidence that an engineer who also is a musician can be a better engineer. An engineer who is interested in philosophy has a better ability to develop complex solutions. So that's one of the things. The other is in terms of leadership. There's a requirement for broad understanding of other topics, because we don't want to narrow the focus too much. So we worked really hard over more than 5 years to develop this program, and it's very, very well organized so that we have a broadening unit, we have units that are directly connected, we have pathway units, but we have also specialization that end up in the last two years. So 5 years is an opportunity to basically learn all these broad things, but at the same time engage also with something that we are really strong in, which is research. We focus on a research-led learning. So the notion that we are at the cutting edge requires us to expose our students to complex problems and to help them solve them firsthand. So and we need also our students to have the experience to be part of clubs, to travel, to be part. That's what makes them all. So at the end of the day, you end up with 2 degrees, and you end up with a much stronger training for the future, because that's really what's important. Lots of the challenges that we're facing require this kind of training, require what we call all-rounded training that has all these elements, because people will become managers very quickly, and they would need these skills. In the old days, what you do is you get a technical degree in 4 years, and then you go work a little bit and come back and do an MBA. So we thought about giving you that opportunity to actually prepare yourself for leadership opportunities beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're coming out as a really well-rounded individual, and you're ready for the challenges of the workforce.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so we've got another question here from Lindsay. How do you apply for the early engineering offers? So great question. So the early offers, we actually have an online portal at UWA, so you actually don't need to go through TISC yet. You can actually do the early offer online on our website. So you would need to provide a letter from your school, potentially, to tell us that you've got a predicted ATAR of 90 or above. So you can talk to your school about that, or if it's easier, you can provide for us a mid-year report that tells us that you've got either an A or a B in the 4 prerequisite studies. And it's really simple. You basically go onto our portal, you put in some details, and then you upload the file, and off it goes. And we've had some students who have said, wow, it's really easy. I didn't realise it was that easy. And then our admissions team will just check that through, make sure that you've tick those boxes, met those requirements, and then you could have your early offer straight away. So you'll be notified then by our team.
That's very exciting.
Yeah. Okay, so I think thank you so much. I think we might move on and ask some questions around student experience next,
perfect.
but thank you for your input.
I have to run. See you guys. Take care.
So I'd like to introduce a current student. So we've got here with us today Jodie Coe. So Jodie, do you want to join me? Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Good. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, my name's Jodie. I'm currently studying a Masters of Professional Engineering, and I'm specialising in chemical process engineering.
Great. Okay. So we've got a question here from Hannah, and Hannah's asked, what's the student life like at UWA?
Good question, Hannah. So Hannah, we've basically got about 150 student clubs from different interests, such as medieval, you could be into sports, we've got heaps of sporting clubs in that sphere, and there's also a lot of engineering clubs to support our students as well. So we've got about, I think, 12 to 15 student clubs for different specialisations, so it's a very good culture in that sphere, and we do a lot of volunteering as well with the community.
What's some of the sort of extracurricular things that you've been involved with?
Yeah, so I've done a bit of squash with the Uni Squash Club, done a bit of work with the McCusker Centre, so they provide a lot of opportunities for you to partner up with community organisations, and through that actually work on real projects while studying, and it actually counts for some of the units at university too.
Yeah.
So that's really practical, and I've also got to go to Manila for the Shell Eco Marathon, which we built, electric race cars. It's pretty cool.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about some of the volunteering gives you sort of credit towards things. So I think it's also interesting that we have in our engineering pathway professional practica.
Yeah.
And what that is basically 12 weeks of industry placement. But what we say is that you can do 8 weeks in an engineering environment, and 4 of those weeks, the remaining 4, can be made up of things like volunteering, professional experience outside of engineering. Any others that you can
talk about?
Yeah,
sure. So basically, there are programs which companies do offer that go for 12 weeks, but there's also a different range of opportunities which you can actually use to make up the 4 weeks. So if you're part of an engineering student club, you have the opportunity to actually liaise with industry partners to run events with students and campers. You can do case studies, and that all adds up if you do a bit of lab work and research with the university as well to the 4 weeks which you're doing. So I guess that's sort of understanding that it's not just, engineering's not really just all being technical. It's a lot about how you interact with others, how do you work together as a team, and I think that's something that you do really get out of at university as well.
Okay, cool. So just go, if you can cast your mind back to your first year at university.
Yeah.
If you can. What were some of the things that you got involved with, and how did you meet people?
Good question. I guess coming out of high school, you do tend to hang a lot with your friends out of high school, but with the UWA's, I guess, really diverse, range of clubs and activities, exchange students as well, there's heaps of opportunities there to meet students within your faculty and also outside the faculty with the 5-year course structure. So that was really good. But how I met people. So I think you just go up and have a chat with people. People are super friendly. We've got ducks and campers, peacocks, and everyone's always taking a little Snapchat, so it's a good bonding activity. But within your classes, you do work in teams, and so that's a really great foundation in actually meeting people with similar interests as well.
Great. Okay, got another question. So Lauren has asked, what's the best thing about studying engineering?
I think definitely how practical it is. People sometimes think that engineering is a sit alone in your cubicle office sort of degree. It's absolutely way far apart from that. You do get to meet really interesting people, getting out in the field, talking about what's currently happening in technology, how we go in terms of trends. That's really exciting. So you do get to work with people. And it's always changing, so that's really good. But what else is really exciting about engineering, I guess, is people. I said people, did I? People super exciting. But it's definitely people, probably in technology. So,
Great.
Okay.
Cool. And you also talked a little bit earlier about work experience. What are some of the work experience opportunities you've had?
So I actually did my 12-week professional placement last summer at Woodside, and I actually did drilling and completion. So got to go offshore, and that was really exciting. And it's a bit more than what I would have done at university. So, but I think definitely having the extracurricular and experiences at university really helped me get that as well.
Great. Okay. And another question. And we get this one a lot. Is it easy to get a job or internships?
I reckon that question should be probably paraphrased a bit. So it is easy in the sense that if you do try, there are definitely lots of opportunities out there for students really interested in doing what they're passionate about. And there's a lot of support from the faculty and student clubs at UWA to actually develop those soft skills, which you not necessarily just get from your degree alone. So there's a lot of opportunity for growth, and that's a lot of engineers do end up doing things like consultancy, and there's heaps of opportunities. It's really what you make of it at the end of the day. And
I guess if you're also doing a second major in your undergraduate and combining your studies, then you open up that range of fields that you can go into and companies that you can work for. The other thing that's really interesting, I think, we talked a little bit about accreditation before, and you're recognised as an engineer internationally, so you can go and work in different countries.
You could.
And there's lots of projects going on all over the world, so that's really exciting. Do you know much about study abroad and some of those opportunities?
So I actually never got to go to study abroad. It's probably my one regret at university, but I do have a lot of friends who have gone abroad to Japan, to Washington, to China, and there's lots of exchange programs that we do have throughout the year. So it's also perhaps in the middle of the year, in winter, summer, or throughout the semester. So it's really up to you how long you do want to go for. But what I can say is that you do have a lot of support in terms of funding to actually achieve that if you do want to go.
Great.
And then continue exchange as well.
Cool. Okay. And again, if you don't mind casting your mind back, when you were in year 12, what were some of the reasons that helped you to decide on a university?
Good question. I think at year 12 you don't. Let's be fair. Well, maybe some students do know what they want to do, but I personally didn't exactly know what specialisation I wanted to do for engineering, and so that's why I chose UWA firstly, because it had that opportunity to diversify the units I did. I started doing chemistry, didn't realise it wasn't quite for me, and then jumped straight back to engineering. Thought about electrical for a little while, but jumped straight back to chemical. So having that flexibility was something I was looking for in a university, and beyond that was really opportunities to actually develop personally, and so that again alluding back to the opportunities from clubs and travel as well.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about chemical engineering?
Yeah, cool. So it's essentially like
what is chemical engineering to start with, and then what do you do? What do you study?
Okay, good question. So basically what you do in chemical engineering is you start off with a product and you change it into something else. So it's basically a little chemistry experiment, but you do it on a really large scale, and you're doing it in the most controlled manner, and you try to optimize the processes. So it's really exciting, and you do have to actually work with engineers from different disciplines to actually achieve what you want to do. So it's massive, in that sense.
So what are some of the units you're studying?
Moment? Or pardon me, I'm getting sick and gross.
We need some water.
Oh, very kind. Thank you so much. So at the moment, so at UWA we do a design unit, and through that design unit you actually work in teams and you solve actual engineering problems. So in chemical engineering we actually are designing a lithium carbonate plant at the moment, and so we take it from, this is what the brine in the lake is, and you produce lithium carbonate at the end of it. So it's a bit of a long process, but it's a really good learning experience, and that's probably, I guess, a key feature.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we've got another question here. What are the teachers like?
Friendly. Super friendly. So there's a lot of support from the academic staff at the university. Some of the tutors you do get are PhD students at uni, and so they're actually quite friendly, they're very relatable, and they're always wanting to improve. I think that's probably the most important thing about the teaching staff at UWA. They're always trying to see about how you can improve the teaching styles, and they're always really receptive in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very good.
Great.
No complaints. Yeah.
Thank you. And just a reminder, if you've got any more questions, keep them coming. Post them in the comments and we'll answer those as well. We've got some questions that came through earlier as well.
Yeah.
One of those was, why did you choose UWA over other universities? Which is a bit of a hard question, but
I kind of touched on it earlier, I think. But I think firstly it was opportunity for personal growth outside of just getting a piece of paper. I did really want to sort of develop a bit more confidence through extracurricular activities and finding opportunities to give back to the community. So I think UWA really has provided that, and I'd absolutely, I guess, recommend it to anyone. Bit of a plug there. But so that's definitely the first feature. And the second thing is we do have a lot of international students as well, and I think that's really important in its degree, because it really shows you how you can actually currently work in your environment here, but it's also sort of simulating what the work life and how things will be like in industry later, and I think that's really important, and it's something I do look for in uni.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, and have you, I know you've done a few volunteering opportunities through your time. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Kimberley Cup, which is a volunteering opportunity?
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, absolutely. So recently I actually went to Broome with the faculty, and it's something the faculty's been doing for about, I think this was the 5th or 6th year.
Yeah, I think it started in 2013.
Yeah. So, pardon me, it was my second trip back to the Kimberley region, so that's in Broome, and what we actually got to do there was run a whole range of science experiments with kids in school, and also do help with this Kimberley Cup, which is a sporting carnival. So it was a really good opportunity to actually find out how it'd be like living and sort of working in a remote community, and that I think is really important as well if you're thinking about engineering in the long run.
Something that we also do as a faculty, and we involve our students quite heavily in, is a program called Girls in Engineering, which is really about recognising that we in industry have quite a low number of female engineers.
I think it's about 12%.
Yeah, about 12%. So that's quite low when you think there's 50% of females and 50% of males. So as a university, we're quite committed to supporting and encouraging diversity programs, and we deliver this program called Girls in Engineering to some of the high schools in the Perth metro region, and we go into schools and talk to young females and some males as well in some co-ed schools to tell them a little bit about why diversity is important in these industries. So we work with the schools and deliver some really exciting hands-on workshops.
I've done it. It's such
You've been
it's so great. Still doing it. And want to go again before I graduate.
Yeah, and you've been able to go back to your school. Is
Oh,
that right?
yeah, I've gone back to school, and it's really exciting being able to chat to students, I guess.
Yeah.
Who've been sort of in your shoes, and you know, actually showing them, you know, why not consider a degree that you might not have considered otherwise. And that's sort of how I got into engineering.
Yeah, because I think sometimes as well, there's lots of people when you're in high school. There's lots of people you might turn to and talk to about your options, and talking to somebody who's a current student who's doing it, who's been in your shoes, can be really helpful. And we have we make sure that we have current students who can go and talk to students in high school as well. So, and on campus opportunities as well. So Open Day, some of you may have come to Open Day this year, and we also run information evenings as well, so there's lots of opportunities to come onto campus. Got another question that's just come through. What are the facilities like?
In terms of labs, so I'm currently actually doing my thesis, and we're actually producing hydrogen gas and graphene and a range of carbon products from methane gas. So it's actually an option for clean renewable energy sources, and the fact that we do have, you know, the lab facilities at UWA is so convenient for someone in their final year, and you know, trying to do thesis and juggling a couple of things aside. So facilities are really great in that sense, and there's a lot of backing from industry to actually you know, partner up on projects. So I'd rate it 8 out of 8.
And I think that so something that's also really exciting is that we've got an infrastructure project underway at the moment called eZone.
Oh, so jealous.
Which we've had some generous support from industry again, and working with the university to really make an investment into the current facilities. And we're actually building a brand new student hub. So that's going to be really exciting. And the purpose of eZone is to make sure that we've got those cutting edge technologies, those spaces, the learning environment, to be able to have world-class teaching and world-class research going on synonymously in the same spaces, so that we've got that really immersive experience. So we're really excited about that. So construction and work is underway at the moment. So we'll see. We've got lots of labs that are being refurbished now, and the construction of the new building starts soon, and that will be completed in end of 2019, early 2020. So if you're coming to UWA now, you're going to get the benefit of those really great new spaces, so that's exciting.
Might pop back for a visit.
Yes, you should. Definitely. Okay, so we're going to probably wrap up there. Thank you so much, Jodie.
Thanks for having me.
We'll continue to keep an eye on the comments, and we'll be answering those questions on there. And also, there's lots of opportunities to get in touch with UWA. If you have any other comments, questions, and you want to talk to somebody here, you can either call us or email us or contact us through Facebook, and we will get back to you through there. But thank you for joining us. Thanks, Jodie, and thank you to Anas as well.
Have a good night.
Bye.